week and dealing with the IRL community. So thank you guys for taking the bullet for us and interacting with real world. And we'll have our in-world meetup back on as regularly scheduled with Fractillion and others for our second monthly town hall later in the month. We're just gonna get moving. So everyone, welcome to this 1st of October town hall, first of two for our US friendly time zone. We have a pretty good showing right now. We have our representatives from the DAO committee, the different core units of the DAO, as well as I believe some foundation team members here. So we're going to go through our regularly scheduled programs and have a DAO committee update, an update from myself and Fractillion from the facilitation squad.
We're on the top 3 based on proposals. We have received a lot of good comments from the community about our DAO. Everyone knows Decentraland, and those who are into DAOs really know that we are one of the most active DAOs. I think that we should be all proud about this. Regarding treasury, we have 43 million mana available to use at the moment and 500,000 DAI. Also, this may not be updated. Maybe those numbers are from yesterday, and today we sent some payments to grants, so the DAI number may be lower than this. We also, I believe, we have some ENS tokens that are not shown in the current dashboard. We should include it. In the past 30 days, we received $500,000, and that's because we have been revoking some grants, vesting contracts, and when the grant is revoked or they change the beneficiary to us, that's coming money that is coming back to the DAO, so that's why the number is quite big this time. And our expenses are still way bigger. We give $1,300,000 in the past 30 days. On the right side is the vesting of the DAO. So it's a 10-year vesting. We have a lot of runway. Still, we need I believe the grants program is one of the most important vehicles we have at the moment to finance the development of the Decentraland protocol. There is a proposal ongoing about restructuring the grants program. We believe after 1 year of giving grants, we give more than 110 grants and total $7 million to our community. And that has been like a year of operating from October to October. So I believe we're in a really good place to do an upgrade to this. Maybe define new categories, new requirements, new way to create vesting contracts. So I'm preparing that proposal, looking forward to have your feedback and continue having this community a vehicle to develop the future of Decentraland. Regarding governance proposals that are in status passed and need to be enacted, number 1 is like moving POIs to layer 2. This week I deployed the list contract of POIs and included all the POIs on the Polygon network. We are testing it. Probably get an update from the browser team that will, or the Catalyst team that will start using this new list. And after that, we can mark this as enacted. And establishing a formal process for adding and removing DAO committee members. The next step will be creating an open call so anyone can be part of the DAO committee. That's joining Killian and I. Just a summary of what the DAO committee does. Basically, we every time like a proposal of point of interest, catalysts, name bans, or link wearables are voted on the governance app, and they pass, then we have to go and update the smart contracts. Also, we issue payments to grants. We deploy the vesting contracts. We swap funds, swap mana in order to pay for those grants and fund the vesting contract. We also changed the status of proposals in the governance app. We interpret when there is a poll and it has many options, we have to understand what's the title and if the proposal passed or was rejected. And also on governance proposals, we mark them as inact. We fill the tank of the relayer in Polygon, so transactions in Polygon are free, so we have to fill that tank. We pay for curators. The payment this month is delayed. It should be issued hopefully today, tomorrow. And also, we pre-fund our wallets as DAO committee members in order to not having to pay the gas transactions ourselves. And also, recently this month, we paid to ourselves. And finally, that's something that we have been doing recently. It's like we're receiving signaling from the governance, the grant support squad regarding some projects that are missing updates, or maybe the vesting schedule is not aligned with the proposal. So in these cases, what we do is we preemptively revoke the grant. That is similar to pausing them, and after that we check with the grantee and we create a new vesting contract if everything looks okay. There is a proposal ongoing about creating a committee to review these cases, so that this responsibility is not in our shoulders. Yeah, and that's pretty much it from my side. If anyone has any questions, otherwise we can move on.
Hi, Yumil. I have a question. Do we ask questions now, or do we ask it at the end of the call?
Yeah, let's go with the questions.
Okay, hi, Yumil. My name is Chris from MetaTrackers. So I just have a question that just, earlier you stated that we have a 10-year runway. So usually that means that we are self-funded for about 10 years. And then sometimes I hear people say that the DAO only has, I think, 43 million in mana? So I'm just trying to figure out, does that mean we have 43 million in mana, which means that's in our treasury what we can use now, and the 10-year runway is another account, or altogether you guys feel the 43 million mana is going to last for 10 years? I'm just want to get some clarity on that. There was a guy named Sean. Yeah. Sean, he posted something today. I'm going to send it in the group. Here, I just sent it right now inside the group, and it said we have 156 million in the treasury. So I'm just trying to get a little clarity on where we stand financially.
Yeah, totally. So the numbers are these. Like, we have one vesting contract. The vesting contract had a total of 222 million mana. That's the total of the vesting contract. The vesting started on the 2020, and it's a 10-year vesting contract. So far, we have released almost 50 million, and that's what we have at the moment. What I'm talking is about the DAO. Foundation has its own vesting contract for the same amount. We can release, like, every month, we can release 1.8 million mana from the vesting contract. That's what it's made available to the DAO to use every month. And that will continue till the 2029. At the moment, what the money what we can use at this moment is 43 million mana, and we can continue releasing 1.8 every month.
Okay,
is that clear?
Yeah, it's clear. So just want to clarify my understanding. So the foundation, of course, the foundation provides funding to the DAO, right? That's correct.
No, that's not correct. Foundation has their own vesting contract, and the DAO has their own vesting contract. Foundation used their own vesting contract to pay for all their employees, and they have their own burn rate, and most of the core developers are paid by Foundation. The DAO has the same amount, and we're using it in grants.
Okay, I got it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory now. Thank you so much, Emil. I really appreciate the explanation.
Sure, anytime. If there is any other question, maybe Matthew, we can continue.
Yeah, thank you, Yamel, and we'll have an opportunity for folks to come back during our open forum and ask some additional questions in general. So we'll just keep on moving. And thank you for that great update. It's really great to have the visual and the breakdown of the treasury. Much appreciated, I think, from all of us in the community. For the DAO facilitation team, from our perspective, I think over the past month, we've had a lot of activity on the forums, a lot of engagement in the Discord, and overall, it's really amazing to see the amount of energy and care that people have for the community. I think that it's generally positive to see people with such commitments to our space. And I think that my only comment about everything that's happening and the way we're communicating with each other is, as we shared in the newsletter, is to, remember that we all have the same overall objectives in this ecosystem of making it a more robust, hopefully equitable and accessible space. I should say, I can't assume we all have the same objectives, but, most of us are aligned here in what we're building. So to please keep it as respectful as possible to each other and go about it with that understanding first. I know that we can have a tendency, especially on the internet, to digress into arguments with each other, sometimes easier and faster. So I hope that, if we are engaging in debate and with conflict, that we take a moment to understand that we are all part of this shared space and part of, pioneering a new area in, hybrid virtual physical existence. And that's a unique place to be. And we're all in this together. So please, do take a breath and engage with that way. And I think we will always end up in a better place. That's sort of a personal and professional request here. But overall, I have been feeling very motivated by the energy in our community these past months and the way people are rallying together to protect the interests of the DAO, to secure the longevity of our treasury, to oversee each other and our overseers on the teams for grants. I think there's a lot of positive signs in our DAO in these past months, and as Emil showed, it's not just qualitative, it's quantitative. So thank you, and I am excited to be on this journey with everyone. And that's just sort of anecdotal. In terms of our operations from the facilitation team, we put out and have passed a draft proposal for the monetary allowances, for limiting that to grant proposals. This was, in response to a few times that, funds were appropriated outside of the established grants framework. At this point in time, it's a draft proposal. I don't see the need personally, and this is my personal opinion, to push it forward to a binding governance proposal at this time, as I just posted the link in there, as if there was ever a situation where someone was trying to appropriate funds in a way that we felt was inappropriate, this proposal would be passable far quicker than that proposal could, because we have it already at this stage. So, I think I'll bring this discussion to the monetary allowance working group. And if there's a consensus that we should push it forward to a binding governance proposal, I'm happy to do so. And if others feel that we can leave it at the stage where it is and let the process that we're doing more broadly around grants framework and our governance run its course, I think we're at a safe position. So I'll share that in the working group in the Discord, as well as we can talk about that if we'd like during the open forum later in this town hall. finally, before I pass it off to Fractilian to talk a little bit about our storytelling, what we've been working there in our narrative surrounding the DAO, the grants framework is a central part of our DAO operations. It's how we distribute our treasury to our community, build our ecosystem as a community. As Yamel said, we have a different treasury than the foundation, and there's been a lot of energy and attention on this, and I just want to highlight that this is an ongoing process, and we, as part of Decentraland, are in what I like to call progressive decentralization. We don't exist in a vacuum. We're moving from a centralized entity to a totally, distributed and decentralized body. And there's a lot of growing pains involved with this. And we're governing over a moving contract. Over a moving target. The grant support team has published a mirror article talking about the grants revocation and pause process, as well as highlighting the various governance procedures and proposals that are going on to establish a formal process for this. In the interim, once again, everyone is doing the best they can. And, if there are any issues, please highlight them in the Discord server, reach out to me. That's what we're here for, to mediate and to be transparent. So please review this article, talk about it, share it, and from my perspective, thank you for the grant support team and the DAO committee and the community members on all sides here for standing up for your positions and for being a part of this process with the grants. So keep the conversations going, and to the grants team, thank you. We're looking forward to your updates and seeing what we're funding. And finally, Fractilian, can I pass it off to you to talk a little bit about our storytelling, and maybe please do have a humble brag about your hackathon win, and then maybe share what we're going to be including in some of the community pulse upcoming.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. I was like this whole time, oh God, my mic. Yay, everyone. It was awesome to be here again. I'm stoked my internet is working. It's been an amazing experience to be here in Bogota with the Grant Support Squad and all the other amazing Decentraland DAO core crew team members, and meeting them has just been, an eye-opener. For those of you who haven't gotten a chance to meet them, just know they have big hearts and big brains. So they're amazing. They blow my mind.
Absolutely.
So, and I've been flexing my Spanish muscles. I'm not great at crypto Spanish, but I'm getting better. But before I go into the hackathon part, I want to give a little update on some of the stuff. If some of you guys have checked out in Twitter, I posted Gio's amazing. He was part of a panel for a Polygon event. Be sure to check that out. And I'm actually editing the amazing one that Gia did for another event, and she's talking about the grants program. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be up hopefully here at end of day, if not tomorrow. And upcoming, we're working on our next monthly Pulse creator series that's upcoming, and hopefully next week I'll be setting up some Twitter spaces because I have Sango has his amazing wearable funded by the Decentraland DAO. He created this amazing series of wearable creation, and I've been working with him, and hopefully we'll start getting all that up next week. And I would really love to have him on spaces just chatting about that. I think they'll be a really fun spaces, and I'll keep you guys posted about that. And hopefully, yes, the whips this week, since I wasn't sure of internet, we didn't want to do an in-world meetup just in case, but definitely we'll be having that in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, okay, so the hackathon, my goal for it was, one of the things I see is a lot of devs, like, they've heard of the metaverse, they've heard of Decentraland, but they don't really see the use case. I mean, they do see use case, but they haven't seen it in person. I wanted to go to hackathon to see how I could creatively use a build for whatever project was presented. This was my first ever hackathon, and it was through Infinite Hackathon. And it was really cool because they made it so it's super intimate. And I partnered with an environmental researcher, and we ended up trying to create a decentralized solution for the scientific community to publish their research findings in an anonymous and free accessible manner. She's been doing this for many years, and most of the people that she know don't even publish what they find because it's between $5,000 to $20,000 sometimes to publish. So we were using the bounties and using the decentralized Swarm, which is a decentralized system, and Hopper wallet to keep things anonymous. And then I built a metaverse education center that every single component would be downloadable, and it would be featuring one of the articles. And we did she'd done research on the pygmy rabbits. So I actually did a cross metaverse build. I did Decentraland as well, and I did Monoverse. So I love interop. I love cross metaverse. So every component in there was to inspire future generation of conservationists, and also like teachers could collaborate and use this space as a place to go, let's research about the rabbit. So it was based kind of around that. And yeah, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't have any Solidity developers on our team, but the whole community was stoked. And we had people come up to us saying that our presentation was their favorite, and it was just, I mean, totally unexpected and a blast. And I'm super pumped to do metaverse build-a-thons. So yes, let's do it. Reach out to me, let's do something. I was one of the best experiences, just that intense creativity. So I'll pass it on. I'll stop chatting now.
Wow, thank you, Herculean, for sharing that, and congratulations and representing us so well, and also for all the team members who are there in person again. I'm going to pass it off to some of those team members to give us a dApps update if there is any, and we'll keep moving on to our grants sharing part of the town hall.
Hey folks, how are you doing? Gino here. I'll share my screen. Give me just 1 second. So can you see it? It's going to be a short one. So latest releases. So recently, I mean, a couple of hours ago, we just launched a new profile. So if you go to the governance app, you will be able to see a redesigned profile for you and for all the DAO members. And I also wanted to provide a short update on the L1 werewolves voting power distribution. As always, feel free to check our latest deploys in our GitHub repository, and also check all the updates, like the customer-facing updates, let's say, on the governance app release notes on Notion. Regarding the new profile, we just launched a new release time with a VP breakdown, some participation metrics. If the user is like a grant beneficiary, you will be able to see the information of the grants they received, the status of the vesting contracts, the project updates and everything there. You will also be able to see the VP delegators and also VP delegation. And also you'll be able to see the DCL avatar. Yes, I was talking to you, Matimi, because I wanted to show this live. So there's a nice thing here where your avatar will basically animate with the NFT mode that you have there. Everything has some helpers to, well, help everyone understand what all those metrics means. So the outcome match, the participation, I'm not logged in, but if you're logged in, you also see the percentage match, so the personal match, right? So if you're visiting your profile, you will be aligned with yourself, which is always a good thing. And if you're visiting another profile, you will be able to see the percentage match between that user and the logged user, in order to, for example, if you want to delegate voting power or wherever, you will be able to see that as well. Okay, and then regarding L1 werewolves, so we finally enabled the werewolf rarity strategy of snapshot that the dApps, well, the growth team from the Decentraland Foundation built for us based on the governance proposal. Thank you to the dApps team who also helped us with the enablement of this. There are some things that we need to improve on our operations of the snapshot space. We're working towards that to give the DAO and the DAO committee, let's say, more rights and better rights to change settings and enable strategies and everything. It's there. We basically created more than 1.7 million VP. And this is super nice because I would say this is the first governance proposal that came out of a working group. So congratulations to everyone who participated on that working group. It was an amazing team effort. Decentralized discussions, online discussions are always hard, and you nailed it. So thank you so much for that. So next steps, we're gonna keep working on this profile. This is just like a V1. There are some things coming. I would say that the most important one is you will be able to see the history of how a user voted on the DAO. I think that's going to be crucial, and we will create a lot of like super interesting conversations and understanding voting patterns and how the user thinks. So that's going to be interesting. And we're also going to be kickstarting a big effort on improving notifications on the governance app, on Discord, emails, and every channel that DAO members use to make sure that we're always up to date. We do not miss proposals. We know the outcome of the proposals that we voted on, and so on and so forth. So I think that's it on my side. Personal note, I'm super happy to be here at DevCon with this amazing crew. It's been amazing. It's great to hear that the conversations we're having are conversations that other DAOs, other members of the crypto ecosystem interested in governance and human coordination, and not only on finance, are having. We also met with some foundation team members. They're also here. They're going to be doing a workshop in DevCon tomorrow. So if you're around, you can also come and join. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gino. Wow, that's amazing. Every time you guys come up with something, or you all come up with something, it just pushes us forward and keeps us at the cutting edge. So thank you for the amazing work that you and your team are doing. It's really, really inspiring. And on that, passing it off to the grants team to highlight some of our community creators. And yeah.
Hi everyone. Here's Pablo. Gino said a lot that I wanted to say about being here in Bogota as a personal note. But today, for example, Gia from the Grant Support was like a jury in a competition for like pitches and whatever, and was very interesting as a Grant Support to hear pitches like from not grantees from Decentraland, but something like this. So was interesting to be there as representatives from Decentraland. Well, let's go to the grant updates. Today we have 3 grantees as our guests. As we usually do, the updates will be shared by videos, and if you have any question, the grantees are going to be here in the chat answering. So, first of all, I want to introduce to Stabash Mungus, or the crypto trader, on Discord. He's been developing open source community modules since the beginning of the grants program. And if I'm not wrong, you're in the 5th, right? Low tier grant. And we invited him to spread the word about his work. So I think Dino can share the screen and we can see the work of him.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Hi there, thanks for having me on today. I'm Alex, and I'm going to be going over some of the community modules that I've developed through our grants program. So all of these modules were created with 3 targets in mind. First being the general user, just somebody in Decentraland who's looking to have fun. I kind of wanted to provide them with that, opportunity to engage with the platform. 2 is the landowner. That's just anybody who owns land in Decentraland, anybody who's looking to host content. I wanted these modules to work out of box for them and require as little programming skill as possible. And 3rd is just the developer. So anybody who's already creating in Decentraland, anybody with programming experience outside of Decentraland coming into it, or maybe they're just fresh out of the box. They're looking to get started programming and they've decided to start it in Decentraland. So the first module that I have here is just the checkers game board module. This is just an implementation of the standard game of checkers, but with peer-to-peer networking. So the main use of it here is just to provide an example to users of how to go about creating your own synced serverless game experience. You don't have to worry about the maintenance or deal with setting up a server if you're using peer-to-peer, and it's great for scalability as well in Scene. It also provides a lot of debugging information that's useful to developers when they're getting their feet wet with a new system. This one is the NFT art gallery. So essentially what it does is it provides a whole bunch of interfaces for users to create showcases for their 2D and 3D assets. You can have freestanding, you can have double-faced, you can have quad-faced. So essentially all a user has to do to display their own NFTs is decide on the style and frame type they want to use, the position for the display case, as well as any background color. So this one's the parkour kit. Essentially the idea here was just to, once again, provide interfaces that are very simple to use, allow people who don't ordinarily have programming experience to develop their own parkour stages and maps. There's quite a bit of utility here. Like you can see that we've got different sets of stadiums. You can even turn it all the way off, turn it on, and toggle between different stage sets. So you could have multiple sets pushed into a single scene, essentially making an arena for parkour with different difficulties. So you can see that all the objects for that scene are essentially boiled down in this list given here. This is all the objects for the different types, from static objects to pathing objects. And here's the waypoint system as well as the starting position for these objects. And here we have the community card game module. It's essentially a set of interfaces as well as some games built in displaying how those interfaces work. It's all built around providing users with the functionality they need to create their own card games, as well as showing them how to implement the card games and add them to the table system. Essentially how it works is you've got a table manager as the overhead manager for the scene, and it can generate tables. So we could actually create multiple game tables throughout a scene if you've got a larger one and you want to host multiple game tables. And those game tables will independently create and manage their card games. So with those modules explored, I'd kind of like to ask for some feedback and look to the future a little bit. I do have more plans to expand the card game module, such as adding additional games, adding some sort of networking to it, whether that be peer-to-peer, server-based, or both. I'm also thinking of developing more complex projects for Decentraland, and that could be things like tower defense or horde survival, something like Call of Duty Nazi Zombies or Balloons Tower Defense. The reason that I'm kind of leaning towards that is a larger, more polished project would definitely provide a much better draw for the gaming-oriented audiences. And these people love to mod, like they love making their own things. And I feel like Decentraland could be a massive area for that, because essentially if we provide them with the tools and we make those tools easy enough for them to use, we could see users coming in just to create their own tower defense games or their own horde survival maps. And if we've provided these in an open source environment, others can come in and build on them, or they can take those projects and turn them into something completely unique for themselves. And sort of we can snowball from there, right? Bringing in more utility to the platform, bringing in more users. And yeah, so if you have any questions, if you want to share feedback, if you've got any ideas or just want to chat, you can just hit me up. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Alex. Alex is here in the chat, and you can ask him whatever you want. And well, let's continue. Next one is the video update from the Crossverse experience. So Johnny is here in the chat, Johnny Karakov, and go on with the video.
Hi, my name is Johnny. I'm a CEO of Crossverse, and today I'm gonna present you what we have. So what is Crossverse? Crossverse is the traffic aggregation and management platform for metaverses. How we do it in Decentraland. We know there is a landowners who is interested in traffic, in players in our case, and we created the smart wearable thing. It's called Hyper. It's a digital pad that you can wear and you can go and explore the metaverse with it. So Hyper knows like where the best places are, so that we call it the quests. So you can go and complete the quest, and after you completed the quest you get the rewards. So after you get rewards you can upgrade your Hyper with the different possibilities that this digital pad has. You can actually have an early access, become a beta tester, or you can join and read a wiki with more updates about it. It's like what is the hyper, how you can upgrade it, what is there inside. But let's the wiki is loading, but it's there. Let's jump into Decentraland. So I already activated it in my inventory. The hyper thing is my inventory, and you can see it. It's on the. It's like going with me, like interacting. So it's a first mode when there is nothing there. But when you actually click on it, so there is a open terminal. So I go ahead and click on it, and then I have an options to do, and I have a quest to complete. So let's start a quest. So there's the first thing is going. I'm starting the quest. Hyper transforms into the portal mode, and I entering the portal. And here is the new thing. It's like I follow the hyper. It shows me the direction where I need to go. So I'm going and see like, okay, so where the hyper is taken. So the directions are always different because we have different objects, and the hyper doesn't really have like direct path, so it goes like from side to side and showing it's like there is not the straight line and that you can go and have idea, okay, so I'm going probably to this location. It's always like checking if the location is right, and this is the way how it works. So yeah, it's like, okay, recalibrating, we call it recalibrating when it goes to the top. So this is the first mode. So it looks like we came to the location because Hyper wants me to interact with it. So I go and click on it, and it says like, okay, I have a mode that's called charging. So let's do charging. With charging, it transforms and starting to charge his energetic cubes, and I can explore the area. So the idea is that player wants to reach out to some specific area which is interesting, which is some object in the Decentraland map that you can you can interact with. So player started exploring, Hyper follows me and charging his cubes, and after some time when the cubes are charged, it will show me that okay, the next part is ready. So I'm just waiting till the charging is complete. So charging is completed and it gives me the loot, and I can complete the quest with activating it. So this is done, and this is how we completed the quest. Then the next option I can do is I can complete the quest, or I can claim my rewards, and the rewards function is like I accepting it and goes on the cooldown, and it gives me NFTs and tokens. So I can start cooldown and things are happening, so I can wait for it and then receive tokens. So this is basically it. This is demo, and we can go to the next quest or receive our NFTs as the rewards. Hope you like it. Please join our beta to receive the first one. Thank you.
Well, thanks. Johnny is here in the chat. We know that the volume was not the best, but maybe if you have any question or something, Johnny is here to ask, to answer. I'm sorry. Well, last for today, we invited the team from VR Client. I think Sean is here, and we have a video update from them. So go on.
Hey everyone, just a quick little summary recap of our Decentraland VR client efforts. Here, as you can see, you're able to log in both using your MetaMask wallet or as a guest. You are able to navigate around in virtual reality using your controllers. You can walk, you can jump, you can of course use your head to look left and right, or you can use your controllers to turn around as well. You can also use your controllers to scroll on just about anything in Decentraland. So we have full parity between the desktop experience and the VR experience. You can also interact with any in-world items by pointing your controllers at them and selecting a button in order to interact with them. So for example, here you can see we're jumping in to this world. What you see here are on-screen elements that normally you would see on the desktop app, but we've brought everything that you see on screen from the desktop, we've also brought that into VR so that you're not missing out in VR. Any interactions, any on-screen pop-ups is all available and have been ported into virtual reality as well. As you just saw just now, there's a quick VR menu that allows you to bring up your settings. You can do a variety of things, like you can change your realms, you can navigate around the map. So we have the full map navigation fully ported within VR, and it behaves exactly as you would expect it to behave. You can use your controller to drag around the map and select a parcel that you would like to go to, and you have other options as well on that 2D interface. Any sort of NPC avatar chats or any sort of pop-ups that normally would only have appeared on screen in previous builds, all that has now been ported over. We also have an in-game browser now. So when you are browsing for something to shop for, maybe looking at an NFT or really anything else where a browser normally would have opened, you now have an in-game browser, an in-VR headset browser. So you can see here, we have the screen where you can change your realm at any time. If you're wanting to hang out with friends or make sure that you're on the same realm as somebody else, you can go and navigate with them. We also fully support the Decentraland advanced optimization settings, the graphics settings, so you can tweak your setting to make things look really beautiful, or if you're wanting a faster frame rate, you can also tone down your settings depending on your PC, or if you're on the VR headset, depending on if you're wanting to record a video or having a smooth experience, you can do all that as well. So those are just a real quick summary of some of the various features that our team has been working really hard on. The biggest thing that we've accomplished so far to date has been the Quest port. We've been working tirelessly to make sure that we fully support things working on the Quest. After the success of getting it to work on the Quest, we were able to overcome some of the more minor issues, things crashing, things not syncing. So slowly the team has been optimizing the experience, bringing up the frame rate significantly, and bringing more and more of what you see in desktop so that it's also visible in VR. I believe at this point we are fully on parity. Anything that you can do on the desktop application, you can now do in VR with the introduction of the in-game browser and all of the 2D UI elements being visible in VR. I believe we're at full parity, and optimization has come a long ways. We do ask that the community please continue to test. If you find any bugs, any issues at all, report to us. We are deep in the polishing phase at this state, trying to get things ready for a November release, and we're very, very excited. Thank you so much for all your support, and as always, please do follow us on the Decentraland DAO Discord channel. We have our own channel in there. Report any feedback that you might have, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Jan. And that's it. This was the last grant that's updated today. So thank you all for being here. And Martin, go on.
Thank you. That was a wonderful update, and it's always a pleasure to see the work, and thank you. So we have included our scheduled programming, and so we're going to open it up for the open forum, and as always, normal platitudes apply. So gonna open it up to the community now.
Hello, DCL Curations here. If everybody can hear me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So I know some stuff was talked about with the grant proposal system and kind of the revokes that had been implemented. And over the past week, I've done a bunch of reading and coming up to date on like some of the polls that are out there and whatnot. And I think that one main concern I have moving forward as we continue to develop is that like right now there's a poll to create another group for just revocation, a revocation committee. And I think that every time we try to solve a problem, we're trying to solve it just by creating another essentially centralized group. And a lot of the information or feedback that I've gotten from like, why wouldn't the revocation process be a community vote, just like it was in order to get something passed, right? The community says, yes, we want this. And then, the community should have some sort of say in whether or not to revoke it. Well, the main response that I've gotten there is that the community isn't really informed and the community doesn't make the best decisions. But I think, from that 38 user article that came out over the weekend and then Decentraland's response showing that there are around, 7,000 to 8,000 daily active users, I'm wondering, how can we not have 8,000 people informed? Like we're so small right now, and we already feel like the 8,000 people that are daily active users in our community can't make well-informed decisions. And so we get in this cycle of let's create another group to handle this. Let's create another group to handle this. And then you just have a bunch of other groups that are handling all of these subtasks, and the community continues to be uninformed. So, I just wanted to bring up kind of that direction that we're moving in, and the fact that these committees continue to be supported. But then also in terms of revocation, I feel that I've come up with a mildly better approach than just a single jury or the full community to revoke or initiate a grant revocation. And that would be to have every single beneficiary address that currently is operating under an active grant to have one vote, because you're assuming that everybody in that group that currently has an active grant is well informed about Decentraland and is one of those daily active users and wants to do what's in the best interest of the DAO, because they don't want to lose their DAO funding, right? So I feel like all of those representatives have gotten a grant through a community vote, and those representatives should be able to make a collective decision. This also would ensure that the judges are basically changing, because as grants expire or as new grants are initiated, you're getting new people in there that can help make these decisions. So, I apologize if I came off a little bit aggressive last week, and, I'm trying to keep it professional moving forward, definitely. But I think that, one of the things that was revoked had some very, very persuasive arguments why not to be revoked. And after several conversations and meetings, nobody listened to any of the arguments, and they just, proceeded with that anyways. And I felt like if we had had at least an opportunity to pitch this to the community and show, everything that we've done, show the support that we have, then that just wouldn't have happened in the first place. And then I'm thinking about my own grant, and I just got it. My first status report is due next week, so I'm definitely going to make sure I'm not missing that status report. But I'm just thinking about with my own grant and the months of work that went into creating this concept I have prior to even getting the grant, and then now working on it with a team that took 2 months to build out. I would be very, very, I would be on the verge of quitting Decentraland if halfway through, my grant was revoked on a technicality and nothing I said about it was taken into consideration, right? So I do think that there are maybe more decentralized solutions that we can find to at least handle grant revocation. And I think that we can proceed kind of with that mindset of how can we create more decentralized approaches to the issues that we're facing versus new committees. So thank you for letting me up to speak. And that's it.
Yeah, DCL Curations, thank you for that contribution. And first to it, I just want to acknowledge the feeling of powerlessness in the face of a perceived total power, and underline that I think what we're all trying to do here with decentralizing technology is to prevent that from happening in general, because it doesn't matter who the power is or who the other side of it is, that feeling of powerlessness and not being able to move a system is something we're all trying to combat. So I want to acknowledge that feeling and also the solution here that you're providing for conversation. Thank you. I think it's very interesting, and I would love to add that into the milieu of conversation and discourse that we're having around it. So let's follow up and let's find a way to, with the grant squad and other members of the community, to continue this conversation in a way that moves us towards a consensus-based solution.
Great, that sounds awesome. And yeah, thanks again, and thanks everybody for all their hard work.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, DCL Curations. This is Gia from the Grant Support Squad here. I just wanted to jump in and let you know that Sino from our team has written an article on the DAO Mirror, which is super new, and thank you so much to the Facilitation Squad for that space. To clarify behind these decisions last month, which had generated conflict in the DAO Discord channel. We arrived, of course, at the conclusion that we as a core unit needed to improve our communications with the DAO to foster transparency regarding the process of improving the grants program. This new committee is being thought because the community voted for it. And as everything we do, we are super open for these conversations to happen. We are working really hard on making a proposal for this new committee. And the idea is that the proposal is also open to you, for the entire community to make suggestions, changes, and even if it is not a new committee, but it's something else because we are advancing on that conversation, that is also always up for discussion. But thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. And here we are for whatever you want to discuss later on.
Is the floor open?
Floor is open, please.
Yes. Hey everyone. Just had I had two questions. I don't know if they're quick. But my first question is, can someone point me where I can find what the foundation is currently working on, their roadmap, or what is their task list, and then also, is there a place where I can find the current sprints or anything that they're working on at this time? That's my first question. I don't know if you want me to do both of them, and then maybe you guys can point me in the right direction, or I should leave it at this right now.
I cannot give an official answer about what Foundation is doing. I can say that they publish a manifesto at the early of the year with the plans for the year. Also, all the repositories are open source in GitHub, and you can see the activity of the core developers on different repositories. If you are a developer, that's a good way to see what is happening. Yeah, but I hear that they are looking for having open calls with the community for different teams. So hopefully soon we can see the order roadmap, or at least having an open space to ask each team.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My second question was, is there a channel where we can propose direct upgrades to the infrastructure of Decentraland? Essentially having the foundation take on more functions or upgrades to Decentraland's infrastructure. If so, how does that process work? And
what do you mean by infrastructure?
So I guess the whole system itself, so like what we build on, I'm not a developer, so maybe I'm using the wrong terminology, but basically what, like for instance, we have scene development. How do we have, obviously there's limitations to scene development, right? So to me, the infrastructure is what we build on top of, or what people build on top of. So I'm assuming that the role of the foundation has been working on mostly infrastructural changes, or systematic changes. So I guess, is there a direct channel that we can propose upgrades or changes to the infrastructure itself, not to specific scenes or to specific, not to specific decentralized, parcels, but to the whole entire Decentraland as a whole. Like for instance, like just an example, smart wearables, for instance, right? Like, is there somewhere that we can propose that? Obviously, that's not a governance issue, but maybe maybe it's something for the foundation to take on, and the DAO would maybe want to push that forward. So I guess the question is, what channels do we have for that, if there is any, and if we do have that process, how do we go about that process?
I don't know there is any solution for that yet, any channel or any place to do that yet. The governance, governance proposal are not the right place for that. But yes, then we need to find a place for those feature requests.
So from the governance squad team, we are working towards implementing a solution for like feature requests and bug requests or bug reports and things like that. It's important to mention that it's not only about the technology, it's also about the coordination. I mean, it's a human mechanism, right? So even though we can build something on the governance tab, if we don't have the back and forth with the foundation, that's going to be tough. But we're working towards that. We are having conversations with them, and I feel that in the last couple of months, the foundation has been more proactive in communicating some stuff. I feel that the roadmap part is still missing and is critical, and we all know that, and they also know that, and they're working towards that. So regarding that, I feel that we're going to have some improvements in the next couple of weeks or months, like towards the end of the year, and hopefully the planning for next year is going to be different and it's going to be better. That's for sure.
Is there a way to so and that's a good point. I appreciate that. Is there a way to allow us to vote to put DAO funds to fast tracking this a little bit more? Is there a way to do that? I just kind of want to know the options we have.
You could request a grant if you have the team for it.
Okay, that's why I was asking. I don't have a team, and I also, I'm part of different communities that are developing, in Decentraland, and I guess, having two, like for instance, they're working on content creation. So how, it's do you want content creators, or do we want teams building on the platform? And if I guess I'm just confused, because like I feel like we need to put more into the platform itself before we can keep building better content on it. I mean, we want to upgrade our content, but I feel like the platform has been, the limitations to most of this. And I'm sure you feel that. I'm not, putting anybody down. I think, you guys are doing a great job. And I just would like to see.
Can I do more?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Can I jump in real quickly? I just want to give an example of some things in the past that have happened. So let's say there's a feature request, and the feature request that's being built on the platform, it's either core or it's just an addition. It gets put as an initial pre-proposal poll to gauge community support. Once it gets there and it gets to the draft proposal stage, you can start to communicate with the DAO facilitators or other people in the core unit, and we can start to facilitate a conversation with different developers in the network to see to what extent this is possible from the foundation side, to what extent this is possible from the community side. If it's community possible and the foundation's not going to work on it, this is all informal at this stage. We can then work to put a grant that has a specific allocation towards this and why. If we can coordinate with the foundation developers or other developers to get this done, we can put it forward into a draft proposal with a core implementation pathway described, and then we can move it forward in that way. So those are two initial pathways. And then there's also some talk going on in the town hall chat where we've been talking about implementing ways for more formal requests for information between the DAO and the foundation, as we develop our own distinct identity, so we can start to communicate with each other in a distributed way as well. So I think that, those are just the current situation as it stands in response to a little bit. Maybe that's helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I don't know, because then it gets to the point of, I believe in decentralization, okay? Because, I came into this Web3 with freedom in mind. However, I also know that too many cooks in the kitchen could be an issue, and I don't want one team's code to conflict with another team's code. That's why I think it's important that the platform itself, or the feature requests, are coordinated with the foundation. So we
also need We also need client redundancies in the future if we really want to be robust. As another side of things. That's my personal opinion. Just so we are decentralized. But yeah, I agree. I think the client code, the foundation code is king right now, and that's why coordinating with it is important on this. But we've also had successful implementations on the grant side to increase features, I think.
I mean, the GitHub itself is open source, right, for both the platform and the library. I mean, if you're talking about foundational changes, the library is going to be the best place for that, and that should enable, ideally, the library should be open source and give you enough freedom as a developer to build on top of the platform, right? But if you really wanted to go to the source and if you had a kick-ass idea, you knew how to build it, build a proof of concept and just submit a pull request on the repo even, and show that it's possible. And that can be a great way to just kind of if you know something can be done and it should be done, you're always welcome to do it, right? All these things are open source for that reason. Is they can always take public code requests and stuff, if the grant option is too slow and too strenuous to get through, right? Because I mean, I get it, that's a long process. So they do still have those traditional open source avenues. It's just they need to have ways to also fund and incentivize people who want to go through that more difficult process, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. So I guess what it comes down to is, I think if we want to start, and this is just a personal opinion, I'm just preaching here. It doesn't mean anything to anybody until it actually goes into a vote. But really, I think what I'd be more interested in giving grant money to is people who are trying to do changes to the fundamental, adding features to Decentraland, that type of stuff. I mean, I want to see this stuff move quick, in a quicker way. I want to see this stuff. I mean, I know everything takes time and it's patience and a lot of testing, but we need to push this because, for instance, Meta has a huge team. They're gonna I want Decentraland to be I don't want Web3 to turn back to Web2 because Meta got into this area and now they're controlling the metaverse. I'm not saying that that's going to be, but people tend the people tend to go where where things are working easy and it's easy for the user. So I'm just saying.
So I want to push this conversation forward. We're late on time, so I think this is a good point to bring up, and we want to increase communication forums between the DAO and the foundation, and continue this conversation I think it's a good one and an important one, and let's follow up with me, and we can talk for some more ways to like keep it on the forefront. And
absolutely, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't want to take up the whole discussion.
Perfect. No, this is great.
Thanks again,
I
everyone.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
So we are pushing on time here. I don't want to cut it off, when there's still lingering sentiments to be shared. So I just want to raise awareness of the time that we're at, but also, keep the floor open for as long as we need here.
I just want to say one more thing. I'm sorry. This is Chris. I just want to give a shout out to DCL Curations. I know earlier this week he was like, a little upset. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but today he came on and he explained the situation in a very articulate way. And he also, I kind of, apologized and said, the way he acted and he, he's saying it for the better good of the community. And I really respect the fact that how he's trying to push it forward. So I know it was kind of rough this week, but I think that's what, as DCL family, what happens. Sometimes we might come and things might not be the right way, but we come back together and we try to make it work. So just shout out to DCL Curations, man. Like I said, I'm not here to judge what happened, but I saw from the text to now, and I see what you're trying to do as far as, make things, good, right. So just shout out to you, man, and the DAO for what's happening. So that's it, man.
Thank you, Chris, for the sentiment. I agree. Thank you.
Hi, could I jump in really quick?
Yeah, please.
Sweet. My name is Tina, and I've been using Decentraland for like a year. And I'm like in the DAO meetings every once in a while. But I reached out to a couple people. I'm a grad student and I'm a researcher in like urban planning and community organizing. And so that's like how I like kind of got into Decentraland, because I'm so interested in the DAO and decentralization and governments and all of those sorts of things. And so I'm like starting to do like a little bit of a research project. And if anyone wants to, like, I reached out to some people and I just wanted to introduce myself again to everybody else. Yeah, if anyone has like a story to tell or like is really interested in this kind of stuff and wants to like discuss it with me, I'm hoping to sort of put together like a little documentary and sort of like different interviews about Decentraland and get that published and get more like word out there about it all and all the cool stuff. So yeah, that's me. And yeah, so I just wanted to introduce myself.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for introducing yourself in the context. And I see your message. I'll get back to you and try to help you in your mission to connect with the right people.
Thank you so much. Yeah, everything that's being done is really cool. And I feel like that I'm like, I don't know why there isn't any like more documentary media about this sort of stuff. So I want to put together sort of a documentary and I appreciate it. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, and also connect with Fractillion. She's helping with our storytelling and outreach from a DAO. So I just
that's awesome.
Tagged Fractillion there. So, between me and Fractillion, we can help with your connection, and we'll take it offline and follow.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if people just have stories they want to share, like I love to gab. I love chatting. Hopefully that comes off in like how I talk. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. At this point, I think I would like to bring this session to a close out of respect for all of everyone's time for coming here. Thank you all for the great contributions across the board. This has been a really great period of time for us, I think, with engagement in the DAO, both quantitatively, qualitatively, and in these sessions. There's a lot of powerful energy and inputs and people behind this ecosystem. So thank you all, and see you in 2 weeks for those of you that want to be there for our EU-friendly time zone town hall, or in a month for our next US-friendly one. And until then, see you all in world.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.